Salud amigos, tripulantes de nuestra querida, contaminada y única nave espacial. La misma que, desde la última vez que nos vimos por estos medios, ha dado 3 vueltas sobre su eje imaginario y vaya que sigue generando acontecimientos en pleno desarrollo. El tema que habíamos anunciado sobre las pretensiones de Trump, que cree que puede manejar las relaciones internacionales como manejaba sus empresas,
handle international relations as if it were his company, besides his complete ignorance in a war. What is he doing? The great world power. Well, to be a power, you have to know how to move the heavy industry and technology. Remember last week we left this in the air, steel and aluminum, not because we didn't deal with it, because the topic was over us. So since Trump cannot do what he wants in his country, what do the advocates of free trade do? Nothing. Duties. They're playing dirty. The guy of the White House is just starting. And of course, the topic of the Middle East, Korea, and others. Remember this, the Far East is an old wound. Korea only has a parallel 38 and armistice. We've repeated it many times. It's not a peace treaty. This means that they won the Second World, but they couldn't make it with Korea. It was the most shameful events after they ended the Third Reich. Let's see the events in pleno desarrollo, and you will see how the chests of Asian countries are felt. We have here the classic building of United Nations in Europe, and this is related to the great issue. When we talk about aluminum and steel, things get complicated. They're talking about trade and development. Cecilia Malmström, the Commissioner of the European Union, says we are not in a trade war, but we could be. And that would be extremely serious if the situation increases, because I think a trade war is not good and are not easy to win. And this is something that many countries in all the world would like to avoid. I wouldn't say eye for an eye. The European Union and other countries like Mexico reacted last week against something that we thought was flagrantly violating the rules of the World Trade Organization. We object the WTO because we took the United States there, and we're also preparing a rebalance rules.
Just stand passively and watch what is happening. We are being imposed tariffs on trade on steel and aluminum.
Esto vuelve al tema del acero.
This goes back to aluminum and steel. And she insists this is not an eye for an eye, but it's a reaction, and we can't remain without doing anything. We are being imposed trade with tariffs on aluminum and steel, but for reasons of internal security. The European Union can think, is this a threat for the United States? They are allegedly our allies. We should talk about the excess of capacity of some countries. So some will be punished because they're doing very well. Cecilia Malmström says, representative of the UK, even in Venezuela, and the topic is the European Union Trade Commissioner. It is clear that we are confronting an important crisis in the multilateral system. We saw the WTO Conference of Ministers in Buenos Aires. We saw their impossibility of taking decisions there, and some countries deliberately violating the regulation of the WTO. We have a body of appeals here. Dispute solution organized, there's an increase of tensions, and the situation is very serious.
Estaban ahí los representantes de México también, Malmström,
Mexican
la Comisión de
representatives,
Comercio y Desarrollo, entrada a la sala de discusión del Grupo Especial de la UNCTAD, el desafío de la Unión Europea a la Organización Mundial de Comercio contra los aranceles de Estados Unidos sobre el acero y el aluminio no es igual, dijo este lunes la comisionada Cecilia Malmström.
Aluminum and steel.
Y la República Popular Democrática
The
de
Popular
Corea
Democratic Republic of Korea
insists en la quinta ronda de
on the
conversaciones
fifth
de
round
preparación
of discussions to
para
prepare
la cumbre de Panmunjom.
the Panmunjom Summit.
En todo caso, esto
In
también
any case,
repercute en los
this
intereses de
also
Trump,
has
el
repercussions on
energúmeno de la Casa
Trump's
Blanca, que cada vez
interest,
patea más la cristalería.
who is
Y en ese
kicking
sentido,
the
Corea del Norte
glasses.
también está
North
reaccionando.
Korea is also reacting.
Estados Unidos y la República
The United
Popular
States
Democrática de
and
Corea
North
realizaron
Korea
el lunes quinta ronda de conversaciones a nivel de trabajo
held
en la
its
aldea
fifth round of
fronteriza de
conversations
Panmunjom. Recuerden que
in
ese
the
es el paralelo
border
38,
town of
donde está
Panmunjom.
marcado
That's
incluso
parallel to
en
38.
eso es el norte.
That is the
Estamos
north.
viéndolo desde el lado
We are
sur del
looking at
paralelo
it from the
38.
southern side
Y
of
se
parallel
miran
38.
las 24 horas los
And
que están de
they are
guardia,
looking, the
firmes y
guards are
mirando
looking
a
at
su
each other
contraparte del otro
24
lado.
hours a day.
Ahí donde ven ese escaloncito en la mitad del
The
camino,
stairs
ese
you
es el paralelo
see
38.
is parallel 38.
Bueno, organismos de control de la ONU confían en que Corea
UN
del
control
Norte sí
organism
llegue a un
trust
acuerdo
that North
nuclear.
Korea
Y
reach a
el
nuclear
director de
agreement.
Energía
And the
Atómica,
director of
Yukita
Atomic
Amayo,
Energy,
dio hoy
Yukita
declaraciones.
Amayo, gave
En todo caso,
declarations
Moscú sigue
today.
esto muy de cerca.
In any
y
case,
nadie,
Moscow
miren qué
follows this
hermosas
closely.
tomas. Uf, la catedral, qué hermoso día. Tiene su encanto esto.
This
Ni
cathedral
les
is
digo
beautiful.
San Petersburgo.
And St. Petersburg
Allá hizo historia Miranda también, nuestro Miranda.
is
Bueno, organismos
unbelievable.
de las Naciones Unidas confían en
UN
que Corea del Norte
entity
llegue a un
trusts
acuerdo
that North
en el
Agreement
tema
reach an
nuclear.
agreement in the nuclear
Yukika
aspect.
Amano,
Tokika
director
Amano,
de Nacional de
director
Energía Atómica.
of the IAEA.
Related to the nuclear program of
seguimos de cerca el desarrollo relacionado con el programa
We
nuclear de
follow
Corea del
closely
Norte.
North
Estaremos listos
Korea
para
nuclear
actuar con
program and
prontitud
we're
y desempeñar un papel
ready to
esencial en la
act
verificación
quickly
del
and
programa
develop
nuclear de
an
Corea del
essential
Norte.
role
Si
in
es
the
que se llega a un acuerdo político
denuclearization of
entre
North
los
Korea
países
if an
interesados.
agreement is reached
Esto
between
está sujeto a la
stakeholders.
autorización de
This is
nuestra Junta
subject
de
to the
Gobernadores.
authorization of our Board of Governors.
I again call upon
Una
North
vez más, solicito a Corea del
Once
Norte que
again,
cumpla
I
plenamente
asked
con
North
sus
Korea
obligaciones
to
y
fully
coopere de
comply with its
inmediato con esta
obligations
agencia,
and immediately comply with
Agencia
our
Internacional de Energía
agency.
Atómica, ¿no? Es la única organización
This is the
internacional
only
que tiene la
international
experiencia y la
agency with the
capacidad,
experience
agregó,
and the
para
capacity, he
supervisar y
added,
verificar
to
las actividades
supervise and
relacionadas con la
verify
energía
activities
nuclear.
related to nuclear
organization.
energy.
Thus has the experience and capability to monitor and verify the nuclear-related activities. And so I do not have any...
No tengo ningún problema con ningún país.
I have no
y si así lo
problem with any
solicita la
country,
Organización Internacional de Energía
and the
Atómica, estoy listo para llevar a cabo actividades de
IAEA,
verificación.
if it requests, I am ready to carry out
Bueno,
verification
el organismo de
activities.
vigilancia atómica confía en
The Atomic
mejores condiciones de
Surveillance
verificar
Entity
cualquier duda al
trusts in
respecto, y
verifying
esto
any
se pone
doubt,
realmente
and
tenso.
this
El tema
is
flota sobre
tense.
Corea, ¿no? Nadie
The
quería
topic is on
Corea con
Korea.
ese tipo
Nobody wanted a
de
Korea with that kind of
tecnología. Merkel y
technology.
Netanyahu.
Merkel and Netanyahu.
¿Qué dos?
What a pair.
Netanyahu siempre quiere
Well,
robarse el
Netanyahu
show y hacerse
was
simpático,
always
pero
wants to
aquí
be the core
sacaron
of
chispas, aunque con
the
silenciador.
show.
Angela Merkel dice,
Angela
Alemania
Merkel
no
says that
abandonó
Germany
el
has
acuerdo
not
Irán
abandoned
nuclear,
the
junto con
nuclear
otros socios
Iran
europeos.
agreement
Estamos
with
de acuerdo
our
en que la cuestión de la
European
influencia regional
parties.
de Irán
We
es
agree that
preocupante,
Iran's influence
especialmente
in the
para la
region is a
seguridad
matter
de
of
Israel.
concern, especially for
Es por eso
Israel
que haremos todos los esfuerzos
security, and this is why
diplomáticos
we will
para
make
hacer
all
uso de
diplomatic
nuestra
efforts
influencia
to
y con
use
respecto al programa
using
balístico de
our
Irán y sus
influence
actividades en Yemen
and
y la presencia
respected
del
the
ejército de Irán
ballistic program
en
of
Siria.
Iran and the presence in Yemen and
Luego
Syria.
dijo,
Then he said,
Hat
she
ja
said,
dieses Abkommen nicht gekündigt, zusammen mit anderen europäischen Partnern.
léanle la cara. En general,
in
no estamos de
general,
acuerdo en
we
todos
do
los
not
temas, pero
agree
somos
in all
amigos
topics,
y
but we
socios.
are friends and
Tratamos de
partners.
comprender los
We
intereses
try
de
to
los
understand
demás.
the interests of
También existe
others.
una amplia gama de
There's
puntos de vista
also
comunes que seguiremos
Broad
abordando.
range
Muchas gracias
of
por su
common
visita
points of
y una
view
buena
we will
cooperación.
continue
Esperamos con interés
discussing.
nuestra
Thank you for your
visita a Israel
visit, and
en
we look
octubre de
forward
este
to
año.
our visit to
Und
Israel
bei der
in
Präsenz
October
der
this
iranischen
year.
Armee in Syrien hier unseren Einfluss geltend zu machen, um Zeit, in der internationale Lage in diesem Jahr, die ja Israel seit 60 Jahren
Bueno, Netanyahu aprovechó la oportunidad para reunirse con el embajador de Estados Unidos en Alemania, aunque fue brevemente, bueno, no tan brevemente, pero no con gran protocolo, pero fue que coincidieron, se pusieron de acuerdo con la complicada agenda en el aeropuerto.
Agreed at the airport.
Permítame decir lo
Allow me
siguiente.
to say the following.
Condenamos
We
enérgicamente
continue
lo que dijo la dirección.
with
Obviamente
the
apoyamos
direction
el
say,
derecho de
of course,
Israel
we
a su
support
seguridad,
Israel's
pero hay
right
que
to its
cumplir también
security,
otras condiciones.
but we have to comply with other conditions as well.
I was asked by the American ambassador here to meet him at the airport.
El embajador estadounidense Richard Reynolds me pidió que lo viera en el aeropuerto. Lo encontré brevemente en el aeropuerto, pero
met
no
briefly with
convocaría
him,
ninguna
but I
reunión. Es
wouldn't
decir,
call
simplemente
any
no
meeting.
existe.
It simply doesn't
Respetamos el gobierno y
exist.
las
We
políticas de la
respect the
canciller Merkel.
government
Tenemos
and the
algunos
policies of
desacuerdos, como puede haber en
Chancellor
ocasiones,
Merkel,
pero en realidad no
but
está en la mira, está más
it is
relacionado
not
con el
in our
método.
aim. It's more related to the method.
The question of the method. Now, it has a historic foundation.
Hablan a uno, ¿cómo pueden continuar negociando con
How
Irán?
can they
Un
continue
régimen que pide la
negotiating with
destrucción de
Iran,
Israel,
a regime that asks for the destruction of Israel?
Bueno, ella recogió el guante y
Well,
dijo, permítame
she
decir lo
said,
siguiente.
allow me to
Condenamos
say something. We
enérgicamente
firmly
lo que dijo
condemn
la dirección.
what
Obviamente
the
apoyamos el
direction said.
derecho
Of
de
course, we
Israel a la
support
seguridad,
Israel's
que es
right
lo que
to
hemos dicho
security,
inequívocamente
which
a
we
Irán
have
en numerosas
told
ocasiones.
Iran on
Creemos
several
que tenemos el mismo objetivo,
occasions.
y es
I
que
think we
Irán
have the same
nunca pueda
goal,
obtener
that
armas
is,
nucleares, y la cuestión en
Iran
la que
not
referimos
obtaining
es cómo
nuclear
lograr
weapons.
mejor
But the thing is
este
how
objetivo.
to attain this objective
¿Negociamos
better.
o le hacemos la
Do we
guerra?
negotiate
No es
or
ningún
make the
carmelito
war?
Irán. Eso
Iran
lo
is
decimos
not.
nosotros, por supuesto.
Wie erreichen wir das am besten? Wir
Lo que quedó claro aquí,
What was
que
clear
Netanyahu va
here
por
is
un
that
lado y Merkel por
Netanyahu
otro.
goes on one side, on one road, and Merkel on the
Tenemos
other.
diferentes puntos de vista,
We
por
have
ejemplo, sobre
different
los
points of views. For
asentamientos
example, on the
en la
settlements,
Israel viola
Israel
permanentemente
is
todas las
permanent
resoluciones de la
violating
ONU
all
sobre los
UN
asentamientos
resolutions
ilegales.
on illegal
Pero en
settlements.
general,
But
el
in
derecho de Israel a
general,
su seguridad,
Israel's
si
right
se
to
ve amenazado cada
security,
día como socios,
if
por
it's
supuesto,
threatened as
intercambiaremos
partner,
productos de
of
alta
course we will
tecnología también
exchange
con
high
Israel,
technology
como drones
products
que
with
hacen un
Israel,
excelente
like
trabajo
drones that make an
vigilando
excellent
para
work
garantizar la
surveilling to
seguridad,
guarantee
no solo de
security,
ustedes, sino de
not
nuestros
only yours,
soldados, al menos
but
para
our
mejorar su
soldiers
seguridad.
also, to improve our security.
Bueno, la
Thank
canciller
you.
Angela Merkel dijo que estaba de acuerdo con el
Angela
primer
Merkel
ministro
said
Netanyahu en
she
una
agreed with
reunión,
First
pero
Minister
es
Netanyahu in a meeting, but
evidente
it is
que
clear
los matices
that the
saltan a la vista.
shades are
Bueno,
there.
Irán está implementando
Iran
sus
is
compromisos
implementing
relacionados
its
con la energía
commitments
nuclear,
related
pero
to
la
nuclear
cooperación
energy,
podría
but
ser más
cooperation
proactiva,
could be more
dice el jefe de la
proactive,
Agencia Internacional
said
de
the
Energía
head of
Estamos en Viena,
IAEA. We're in Vienna,
sede del organismo,
seat of this entity.
banderas en los mástiles. Esta es otra rama de las Naciones Unidas.
This is another branch of
Dentro del
United
edificio de la
Nations.
ONU, Organismo Internacional de Energía Atómica, sala de conferencias,
At the conference room.
y representante de Irán también en la reunión.
Iran
de la Organización
representative
Internacional de Energía
also
Atómica,
there.
el director de la
The
misma,
director,
Yuki
Yuki
Yamano,
Yamano,
llegando a la reunión.
arriving to the meeting.
Se hace esperar un poquito, pero bueno, es el director. Se sienta detrás del letrero
He
del
sits
director general
behind.
y comienza la sesión.
And that session starts.
Espera que los demás se sienten como si hubiera llegado el maestro, ¿no? Están cada quien en lo suyo ahí, afinando detalles.
It's as if
porque
the
el
master
tema no
had
es cualquier
arrived,
cosa.
because the topic is not just anyone.
Todavía tomando su tecito, su cafecito, esperando, y ahí viene
People
la
are waiting,
declaración de Yuki
and now
Yamano,
we have the
director general
declaration
de
of
Energía
Yuki
Atómica
Yamano,
Internacional.
the General Director of IAEA.
The agency continues to verify
La agencia
La
continúa verificando y
The
monitoreando la
agency continues
implementación de
verifying
Irán y sus
and
compromisos
monitoring
relacionados con la
Iran's
energía nuclear
commitment,
bajo el plan de acción integral
compliance with
conjunto,
its commitments
como lo solicitó el
regarding
Consejo de
nuclear
Seguridad de la
energy,
ONU,
as UN Security
autorizado por la Junta de
Council
Gobernadores.
authorized by the Board of Governors. We are verifying the non-deviation of materials by Iran. In virtue of a safeguard agreement, we are still looking for the materials not declared for Iran. I'm not saying that we are concerned about Iran's implementation of this plan or the additional protocol. On the contrary, we affirm that Iran was implementing its commitments with nuclear energy topics, and we have the declarations we needed. Nevertheless, there is space for Iran to cooperate in a little more proactive and timely basis. This is not a matter of concern or complaint, but an encouragement to Iran. Very diplomatic and timely. Iran is implementing its commitments related to nuclear energy under the Integral Action Plan. Israeli students are learning Farsi in the midst of the war with Iran.
Escuela Preparatoria Ben
Gurion Preparatory School.
Titulado el Plan Seguridad e Inteligencia.
This plan is called Security and Intelligence Plan, Farsi Plan. Name of the language.
Dice Farsi para principiantes.
Farsi for beginners. Different expressions.
Idiomas hasta canciones.
From
Pini Shmilovich, director of the
program Iran Security Intelligence in Ben Gurion Preparatory School, talking with reporters. Strange way of holding a pencil.
Bueno, la escuela preparatoria Ben Gurion en
This is the preparatory school, Ben Gurion. I thought Iran is one of the main topics of Israel, said First Minister. We will later see the ratification of these concepts through the Premier's declarations. I thought it was one of the main states. I think we had to form people who knew, and we're trying to teach them two things: how to investigate, and second, understand how they think and talk in Iran. Netanyahu, on one of his favorite topics, the weapons that threaten us, he handles these topics very well, of course, and he always tries to show that they are surrounded by all kinds of threats, but he never says anything in favor of Palestinians, in spite of all the sanctions imposed by Palestine. Netanyahu is announcing the evidence of the Iranian secret nuclear program, and this is what he did, allegedly, by withdrawing the curtain that he proves with it. Students specializing in Farsi. So you have to understand and know the potential enemy. Pini Shmilovich, director of this program in the Ben Gurion School, says, learn the language and understand the materials opens an opportunity perhaps in the future. But some of them perhaps participate in these actions or translate or read these materials. Meanwhile, in Iran, things are as we see. Everybody's armed, ready, challenging. Demonstration of power and preparation. We do not only learn about language, but we learn from the experience of flavors, but everything related to Iran, their citizens. It's a great culture that dates millions of years behind. Bibi likes these things.
primer ministro Netanyahu mostraba el cartel de la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas dibujando una línea roja allí y la profesora del programa de Irani, Hannah Yahavarov, no solo aprendemos los tecnicismos del idioma, sino que también proporcionamos la experiencia de las labores, los sabores, los colores relacionados con Irán como país. Sus ciudadanos son una magnífica cultura que se remonta a miles de años atrás. Bueno, y desde luego de acá saldrá gente especializada para inteligencia, ¿no? Letreros de transporte con el lenguaje personal.
People specializing in intelligence will be prepared here.
Donde el dolor llega, te encontrarás sanación, un pensamiento.
When pain arrives, you will find healing. An
Más de
interesting
los
thought.
estudiantes en el aula, textos de Farsi. Y Meir Jaberdamfar, conferencista en el Centro Interdisciplinario de Herzliya, diciendo,
In the
según tengo
Interdisciplinary
conocimiento,
Center
algunas
of Herzliya
universidades en
says,
Irán
as I
sí
know,
enseñan
some
hebreo.
universities in
Tal vez
Iran
creo que es muy
teach
posible que lo
Hebrew.
aprendan.
Perhaps
Y en
they
un abrazo de
learn
inteligencia de la
it.
República Islámica, aprender
And,
parte de hebreo en sus universidades me
I
parece
will,
interesante.
to learn Hebrew in their universities is interesting.
Mientras tanto, Irán sigue con
Meanwhile,
su disciplina
Iran
y
continues with
preparándose.
its discipline and preparing.
Es posible que reciban
It's
capacitación en
possible that
hebreo de árabes
receive
israelíes o
training
también
in
miembros de Hezbollah que estaban en cárceles
Israeli
israelíes. Fueron liberados después y aprendieron hebreo cuando estaban en la cárcel de Israel. Al regresar al
Or,
Líbano, entrenaron no solo a la
people who were
gente de
in jail
Hezbollah, sino también a gente
who
de
not only
inteligencia
trained
iraníes.
Hezbollah but also Iranian
Estudiantes
intelligence
inscritos en el
people.
programa Irán, la seguridad y la
Students
inteligencia,
registered in
sin
this
mostrar
program,
rostros,
Security and
porque
Intelligence,
evidentemente
without
se están
showing their
preparando
faces
para
because, of
inteligencia.
course, they are
Creo que puede
preparing
ayudarme en el
for
futuro, no
intelligence.
necesariamente de
I
una manera
think it could
pacífica,
help me in the future, not
pero mi
necessarily for
forma
peaceful
de
means,
pensar es
but
bastante
my
diferente
way
ahora
of
que cuando
thinking is quite
comencé.
different now
Realmente siento que
than
me
when
dio
I
más herramientas
started.
para investigar,
I
comprender y
think I
aprender.
now have
Realmente
more tools
desarrollamos
to investigate,
de otra
understand, and
manera lo que
learn.
pienso. Encerrados en una guerra paralela de expansión con Irán, Israel está haciendo un
In a
casting más
parallel war
amplio
with Iran,
para hablantes de Farsi.
Israel
¿Para qué?
is,
Para su
has a
servicio de
broader
espionaje.
cast for its
Y una escuela israelí se
spionage
complace en
service,
proporcionar reclutas.
and an Israeli school
Canciller
is
Jorge
pleased to
Arreaza, en
provide
la Organización de
recruit.
Estados Americanos, hoy, brillante discurso,
OAS
poniendo los puntos sobre las
he
IES, y esto no
presented
es
a
un lugar
brilliant
Queridas periodistas,
speech, the
queridos
Venezuelan
periodistas, de
representative.
agresiones de Estados Unidos
Dear
contra
journalists,
Venezuela. Y la
U.S.
OEA
aggressions
ha
against
sido un
Venezuela
foro por
and OAS
excelencia
have been
para esas
the
agresiones. Y nosotros
for
hemos
those
llegado ya al
aggressions.
momento en el cual nos
And
retiramos.
now we
Nos
are
vamos.
now
Así que
withdrawing
esas
and
pretensiones
leaving,
que sí,
so the
expulsión, suspensión,
pretensions
por
about
favor.
suspension or
Ella es
expelling,
ridículo, ¿no?
please,
Ella
it's
es ridículo.
ridiculous.
Nosotros ya nos fuimos.
We
Estamos
already
cumpliendo
left.
en
We are
Venezuela cuando alguien
complying in
renuncia
Venezuela when
a un
somebody
trabajo. Tiene que cumplir
resigns
con un
to a
preaviso,
job, it
según la
has to
ley.
comply
A
with
veces
the
son 2 meses, 3 meses. Nosotros estamos en preaviso, nosotros ya nos fuimos.
notice, 1, 2
Nosotros
months.
creemos
We
en la
already
comunidad de
left.
estados
We
latinoamericanos y
want that
caribeños, en
the
la
Latin
CELAC.
American Caribbean
Nosotros creemos
States
en la integración
Organization,
bolivariana,
we
que surgió
believe
del
in
Congreso Anfictiónico de
Bolivarian
Panamá, que si bien el panamericanismo lo tomó como
integration
fuente, lo que hizo fue distorsionarlo, porque lo que ha hecho
that
el
started in
panamericanismo y
Panama.
el interamericanismo
What
es tratar de
Pan-Americanism and
catalizar esa
Inter-Americanism
pugna
have tried to
histórica
catalyze
y
this
que se imponga a
historic
través de estas
battle,
organizaciones
and
el
they are
criterio
trying
de
to
los Estados Unidos.
impose the criteria of
Estados
the
Unidos
United
pertenece al
States
sistema
that
interamericano de
belongs
derechos
to the
humanos.
Inter-American Human
Estados Unidos
Rights
pertenece al
system.
sistema
It also
interamericano de
belongs to
justicia.
the Inter-American system of
Estados Unidos
justice.
pertenece a la Corte Penal
The United
Internacional.
States belongs to the International
Estados Unidos
Criminal
cumple
Court.
con la Carta
The United
Democrática
States complies with the
Interamericana,
Inter-American
o con la Carta
Democratic
de la OEA,
Charter
o con la Carta de
or
las
with the
Naciones Unidas.
OAS Charter or
Evidentemente que no.
UN Charter. Of
Nosotros
course
lo
it
que
doesn't.
pedimos a
What we
cualquier
ask
organismo
any
internacional
international
que se rija
entity
bajo los
is
principios del
to
derecho
abide
internacional
by the
público,
principles
es
of the
que
public
respete esos
international law and
principios
respect those
fundamentalmente. Y por eso estamos aquí,
principles.
de
This is
manera,
why we are here
respetuosa,
respectfully
pero con coraje, con
but
valentía,
bravely
defendiendo
defending
nuestra
our
democracia,
democracy,
nuestro modelo,
our
nuestro
model,
presidente que fue
our
elegido por el
president who was
68%
elected with
de los
68% of
votantes el 20 de
votes
mayo
on
del
May
año pasado, y
20th
que aquí
last
pretenden
year,
desconocer,
and
reconocer, no
which they
reconocer
pretend
algunos
to
países la Asamblea
ignore.
Nacional
Some
Constituyente, hay unos que no
countries
querían reconocer a los gobernadores
refuse
electos,
to
otros que sí las
acknowledge
alcaldías, y
the
ahora es con el presidente. No nos interesa.
elections in the past and now. We don't care what you think. Any government, the United States or Australia, or the countries that have grouped against Venezuela about the elections in Venezuela, because the only one that is entitled to recognize its president is the people of Venezuela. President Nicolás Maduro is making great efforts for peace in Venezuela, conciliation in the country. We decided to withdraw from OAS because most countries conducted by the United States violate the most elemental principles of the Constitution Charter of OAS. Article 20, you can read, 19, Article 3, read it and ask yourselves if these countries comply with those articles, which can derive from any other legal instrument that cannot be above the Charter of OAS. You cannot expel us from someplace we already left. It's a kind of an ironic move. It's like a desperate action. We already left. This is the last General Assembly we will attend, and since we saw that we would be the main center of the Assembly, President Maduro sent his Chancellor. But in the General Assembly of June 2019 will not be by our own will. So whatever you do is just accessory. We already left. We are no longer here. That must be clear. Thank you very much. Well, sound, elegant, sovereign, and addressed to whoever wants to listen. We must remind you that OAS, like the Ministry of Colonia of the U.S., and those who say yes, sir, to the United States are those who accepted donating their land, air, and sea space, and are accomplices to act against Venezuela. And we know what they're looking for. And the poor example in sovereignty is really disturbance. We will see this. These are events in pleno desarrollo, and this will become worse. And we are in NATO now. That's what they say. I know NATO inside. When I was invited in Germany, German Air Force and Army, it's not worth to talk about this. We know the traitor, who the traitor is, and the attack to keep our oil comes with the traitors. We will make a pause and come back with more events in pleno desarrollo. Don't believe I'm disturbed and pessimistic. There are very interesting things and surprise for everyone. A brief pause.
In South America and the Caribbean, we face challenges, looking for ways of contributing to solutions to the nations. With a uniting feeling, though before the attack of those imposing themselves, we defend an ideal of an inspiring struggle. We are together, preserving our traditions, integrated, being one South.
Little squat man comes in.
One of the greatest storytellers in the soccer history is back.
Es un placer estar de vuelta.
Only on Telesur. A sign of resistance to hatred and injustice, Bill Fletcher Jr. conducts a discussion and analysis space to reveal the social struggles of Black people on the Global Africa. Wednesdays, only on Telesur. Telesur brings you special interviews with social and political personalities. Monday, from Washington. Tuesday, from Mexico. Wednesday, from Caracas. Thursday, from Quito. Friday, from Havana. Analysis about our continent's reality. Weekdays, only on Telesur.
We are always there tracking the news. We seek equality. We defend the truth. It's a hard job, but we are not alone. We count on a new ally.
We're back with more events in pleno desarrollo. We were remembering the extremes of things. What happens in certain circumstances in references to cocaine, the white dust. Even with the $100 bill, you inhale. How sometimes the presidential airplane of Colombia, they found 5 kilos cocaine by radar. We're talking about the Bolivarian Army, the 30th investigation cruise. This is the only presidential. Latin America ship 34 cadets full of illusions start their this confirms what we just said, that it was divided in 2 segments regardless of all ports. One of the cadets, they are around here until they arrive to the Pacific, and then they completed, and they will have to pass the Panama Canal to come back to their country. So the data are 34 new cadets. They will sail in the Pacific and find 2 seas when they pass the Panama Canal and deep in the Caribbean seas. Sailing and sailing spirit is beautiful. Our borderless ambassador set sail in Valparaíso.
El Bravo Eco no llama la atención, ¿no? Oigan bien, fin de semana, 15,600.
At the weekend, they had 15,400 guests, and they were received by our cadets, who received a warm reception. They said farewell to Valparaíso by changing the crew. New captain Gregorio Rivero Sojo, who ordered to continue the trip.
Bracear los palos trinquete y mayor, 4/4 al costado de estribor, tras luchar la botavara.
They provided all the technology. Located to the north of the Republic of Chile, passing the desert of Atacama on the Pacific Ocean. And they went to Antofagasta port. They plan to arrive there on June 8th. So they're sailing upwards. Antofagasta is here. And then they will visit all necessary ports, cross the Panama Canal. It's an experience that everyone must have once in their lifetime. Next to the dock.
En el glosario naval, abarloar, que ya lo habíamos tratado, es cuando dos barcos se juntan en un mismo.
You have an action where two ships are next together, next to the dock, to have the space, the same dock space.
Bueno, Gabriela Colombo, España, capitán de corbeta.
Gabriela Colombo, España, corporate captain. Oh, if this was written by a woman, no wonder it's so well written. Sailing captain. Very well written. There's nothing that exceeds what we have showed you. Let's see more events in pleno desarrollo. A suicide attack kills 8 people in the Afghan capital. This is an information we have here. But in relation to this, we are talking about the great summit that must be published tomorrow on all the media. We're talking about the great meetings between the West and East, but also the summits that are taking place. This is an interesting expression. The great cities of the Far East. Any portion of water is good for sailing, and I remember Hong Kong when it was still a British colony. Unforgettable. Suicide attack kills 8 people in the Afghan capital. A fireman on site. The explosion took place around 11:30 with a terrorist. See the bullets crossing the walls. So they were trying to kill the largest amount of people. Government did not talk about the identity of the attacker. Terrorism, something that breaks the morale of many people. Analysts believe that the recent chain of terrorist attacks is being used to alter the social stability of the country and endanger the next parliamentary and district elections. Eruption of a volcano in Guatemala leaves hundreds of deaths and wounded people. How many are you in your family? We're a lot. Do you think there are people buried? I say they are. The speed of lava, environmental contamination was surprising. People died burnt because lava has very high temperature. No, not everybody escaped. I think they should be under the lava. Good afternoon to the Guatemala population and the media. People are trapped. We would like to declare a state of emergency. We must see, according to our legislation, what helps us. To this time, we think it could be a calamity state, at least in 3 departments. At 4 p.m., we were informed and we had to evacuate. I repeat, the panorama was very good in the morning and early in the afternoon. There were only ashes and sand falling. It was not a matter of evacuating until the pyroclastic flows started. People are asking why there was an emergency declared, but it seems they didn't deem it necessary. We'd like to thank everyone, and we will continue with our system of emergency activated. This was declared by Sergio Cabanas, General Secretary of the network, emergency network. Guatemalan President Jimmy Morales visited the place. The rescuers extracted bodies after the deadly explosion of the volcano. As you know, ashes alter mechanisms, and the flights may be halted. Volcanic sand hurts turbines, and right now we are inspecting the strip to determine the level of difficulty we have, and we found lots of ashes. Volcanic ashes in a plane's turbine is very dangerous and could seriously affect the mechanisms. Topic is in pleno desarrollo. More than dramatic, our solidarity with our sister Republic of Guatemala. Rafael Salguero said that our challenge is that the volcano has been active and we are working with this material that is extremely hot. This has made very hard the labor of rescuers. We're talking about around 30 degrees centigrade, so we're working with that material. The rescuers are trying to recover bodies covered with a thick layer of pyroclastic material, and this makes breathing very difficult. The pyroclastic flow was very fast. It burnt, buried, and killed everything it found on its way. This eruption also stopped the attempts of rescue. The deadly toll is 38 right now. Reuters witness near the volcano said that more people were evacuated beyond the perimeter of 8 kilometers after the new explosion. Active volcanoes in the country. One of them created this disaster, which is near the colonial city of Antigua, which is a World Heritage and has survived several volcanic explosions. The last activity is just on the other side of the volcano. Residents flee while the volcano fire, that's its name, continues expelling pyroclastic flows. Residents who run parallel to the bus, policemen trying to order, preventing a new explosion, survivors with children. All this because of a volcano called Fuego, fire. Lava and ashes at high temperatures continued to fall. Early eruption also stopped the rescue efforts. The National Disaster Agency increased the deadly toll to 38, but it wasn't clear if they would find more corpses or more people died. Guatemala agency said that 2 million people were affected by this explosion. A Reuters witness said that more people were affected after the second explosion. Fuego is one of the several active volcanoes. The people had gotten accustomed to live with it. It's near Antigua, a World Heritage. Last activity in Fuego is on the other side of the volcano, next to the Pacific coast. Around 300 people were wounded since the eruption Sunday that sent smoke and ashes 10 kilometers away, and they contaminate much more than what we can imagine. Conrad shared pictures of the lava, people who has very serious burns. Some did not make it, and others are waiting because services are saturated. Gas and mud sliding down the mountain and crossing the valley. It swallowed everything on the way. Dramatic images.
Bueno, equipo Navarro.
In view of Chile's decision to ask OAS to send a report against Venezuela to CPI, Senator Navarro says it's a shame for Chile. I am still waiting for Sebastián Piñera to condemn the murders of Palestinian children by Israeli soldiers. I am still waiting for Sebastián Piñera to condemn the deaths of Palestinian children by Israeli soldiers. Minnesota is participating in Intermuseum in Russia. It is performed in Russia from May 31st to June 3. Through its Twitter. And this very important cultural event, museums, where the Ministry of Popular Power for Culture exhibited our flag and culture. The meeting gathers more than 400 museums of the world, aimed to resolve conflicts and advance everything related to traditions, trends, practices, and technologies to maintain the exhibit capacity and the wealth of modern museums.
Bueno, esto parece algo estático, pero es importante.
This is important. South American Australian Committee congratulates the South American Department of Australia congratulates its sincere congratulations to the people and President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela for his re-election in the recent elections held on May 20th. Nicolás Maduro said that I place persecution, financial blockade, and sanctions against Venezuela on the table. Today there was a statement referring to political opponents, and he said, I put on the table from Washington, D.C. They will participate in the last this is the last assembly where a Venezuelan chancellor participates, because we accuse OAS and we are leaving OAS. This is ratified. It's 13 of 24 months we have to wait. On that day, we will have a national party when Venezuela leaves OAS. We will declare this a holiday for the entire country. Ministry of Colonia. I'm very excited because I know those scenarios, and as a chancellor, OAS is the most boring thing there is. I was saying, Celia, there's no scenario where they lose more time in the world. It's OAS where you lose the most time. It's a useless entity. And unfortunately had a setback and is now once again a ministry of colonies of U.S. empire against revolutionary movements, against progressive peoples, against independent anti-imperialistic governments as the Ministry of Colonia. I hope new times come for OAS, although I have more doubts because that entity was marked, was poisoned, contaminated by Imperial Guard. I ordered Chancellor Jorge Reaza to respond all insults one by one and defend the dignity and the truth of Venezuela in Washington. Even if he has to talk 1,000 times, he will defend dignity 1,000 times and respect to our nation. The center of all our action must be the economic revolution transformation, pass from the war against the mafia to a deep work to structure a new system, to socialism and the development of all the productive forces of the country. I will focus there. This is why I say it's a live country for now and for the future. A Congress that must reach July 28, 29, and 30 with the image of our commander Chavez with lines in pleno desarrollo. I'm using the words of Walter Martinez, the best program of World TV. A Congress in pleno desarrollo with lines in full action. Well, thank you. Of course, there are people that it's an honor for me. And now I remember to leave OAS in the place it deserves. Something about Mario Moreno Cantinflas. We must apply what he did to others that didn't deserve any answer. I don't even ignore you. That is worth it. with to remember. And it's great to close this week. We will no longer be, as Fidel said, the Ministry of Colony of the United States. When you cover those kinds of sources, you can see what there's there, and you agree with everything said by President. They are bureaucrats, and secondly, they shoot all around, and most of the time everything is boring, taking care of rules, because there's not much to say without listening to the words of the boss. And that is very boring. They seem like the dog of RCA Victor, what comes out of that megaphone. Then we bark according to what our boss says. Well, we are proud of this decision, and I say this because I know the monster because I lived it, inside it. United Nations is another story, but they also have their... wherever you are on the other side of the screen, thank you for allowing us to be with you. From Studio 3 of Venezolana Televisión, Dossier ends here. This was Walter Martinez, conductor and producer.